we need to go over on this? That any specific points I need to hit, or just general Mixie overview, how to use it, all that?
Joe, what are the primary things that you want to learn today?
I mean, maybe some of the basic functionality, and then also I think some of the people have some questions with how to work with their mobile phones, maybe when they're away from the office or out of the office, or
Like using Mixie on their mobile?
using Mixie on the mobile would be a great thing. Yes.
And everybody knows how to bind to their cell phone, right?
No.
No?
Not everyone know.
Okay. So maybe we could do the binding part first, David.
Okay.
And take some questions.
Okay. First question with everybody. How does the screen share look? I mean, is it like post and stamp size? Do you need to resize it or anything?
It looks good to me.
Looks good.
Big.
Okay. If you need to, on the top right corner of the window, you'll see a thing that says zoom. You can change the zoom size, and if you zoom it to like bigger than your screen size is, you'll get scroll bars and stuff. That might help you see some stuff. I know a lot of it depends on the size of your monitor and what resolution you're running and all that. So make sure everybody can see it. Okay. Well, this is my Mixie here. I'm logged into a couple groups this year. I've got my conference call with everybody in it. One of the first things that Lisa wanted me to show you was the bindings here. In Mixie, you bind to a device, which makes it kind of your primary phone. Like in my case here, I've got a cordless phone and I've got a desk phone, so I usually bind to my desk phone. But if I needed to walk away from my desk for a little while and I was expecting a call, I could bind this to my cordless phone. One of the other things you can do in here is you can actually bind to an external number. Okay, so all the calls that come into you as a user or any calls that come into groups that you're in, you can have those sent to your cell phone instead. So if I, for example, put here, I want to put my cell phone number in, and set caller ID, what this is going to do here is it's going to show my own DID on my cell phone on those incoming calls. That way I know it's a call coming in from work. So that, and successfully bound, and now it shows my cell phone. Now any calls that come in to me are going to end up on my cell phone.
Can you go back to that for a second?
Can you show them the step-by-step, like how to bind, just so they, in case they're taking notes and writing it down?
Yeah, no, but I had a question on what he just clicked
this
below.
down here.
Yep.
It'll show whatever you're currently bound to, whether it's the MAC address of your phone or your cell phone number. You click this. Click bind to. You have a couple options in here. Bind by device ID. That's only if you know the MAC address on your phone, which you probably don't. Bind to external phone would be where you can select an external number. If you say bind to registered contact, this would be a phone that's already assigned to you. And here's the easiest one, actually. You can bind by a call from the device for, like your internal phone. If you can't remember the ID on your phone, you say bind by a call from device next, and then you can pick up your phone and call that number. And it'll bind you to that.
And could you guys make sure everybody mutes their phone so that people can hear? David, please.
Hey, Lisa, can he go back to the external phone? There was something that he clicked below. When you go next.
In here?
Yeah, use my caller ID for received internal or external calls.
Yes. What this will do is, you have a caller ID that you send out. Like if you place a call out from your desk phone,
right?
Somebody outside, they'll see a certain caller ID. Like for example, mine is 864-527-9608. Okay. What this is going to do is, if the system receives a call from me and then places that call back out to my cell phone, once I've bound to my cell phone, it's the caller ID that's going to show up on my cell phone will be my own caller ID in the system. So I'll see a call from 864-527-9608. I'll see my own number in there.
Okay. And then what about for external calls? So if you're bound to your cell phone and you make an external, I guess never mind. The
internal versus external is like if Ed, the desk over from me, decided to call me versus somebody calling from the outside of the system.
I see. I get it. Okay.
So you can do that. You can change around your bindings. Now, once you've bound to a couple things, you'll have a bind recent here. And you'll see recent things that you've been bound to. As you can see, at Working Tech Support, I bind to a number of different phones for testing. Like this here is my standard desk phone here. So if I've bound to my desk phone and I'm bound to my cell phone, I don't have to go through that whole process the next time around, I just say find recent, and I say my cell phone number or my desk phone. So I can just say that, and now I've gone to my desk phone and set up my cell phone.
Okay.
Any questions with that?
No, that's fairly simple. I think we all can master that pretty easily.
Okay. Let's move on to a couple other things in Mixie. One thing you'll see here is I've got a conference call here. The conference call is a little bit different than other types of calls because I'm actually calling into the conference bridge. There are a couple things that I can't do with this call, like, for example, I can't transfer things. Doesn't really make any sense to try to transfer a conference call, though. You'll see here I'm enabled for call recording. Lisa, do you know if they're set up for any call recording?
We are not using call recording right now, no.
Okay. My user is set up for call recording on demand. I can just click this old-fashioned tape button here to record my calls. And the way call recording works in the system is if you're set up for on-demand call recording, at any time during this call, if I hit the call record, the call will be recorded and stored in my voicemail from start to finish. So it's not like 10 minutes into the call or 15 minutes here into the call. I hit record and it starts recording. At that point, the system's actually holding on to this entire call until I hang up. So if at any point I want to record it, I have the whole thing, start to finish.
That's pretty cool.
And you'll see here I have this. This is disconnect, hold. I can do any of these from here without ever touching my phone. If this was a normal call, I'd also have a transfer option. And if you look down here, I see the people that are in the caller ID, name and number. I can choose to mute people.
Yeah, I just read about that last night. That's a cool feature on the new version. You can individually mute people.
The mute and disconnect is awesome because, and I've had it happen before, you're on a conference call and one person has to step away from their desk, so they put you on hold instead of mute, and now everybody's hearing the hold music. Well, I can just mute out that one person who's giving the hold music, and so we can continue the conference call. I can also disconnect individual people, like if somebody is, having some issues with their phone, and somebody has poor quality cell phone, I could disconnect them from there if I needed to.
Okay.
Now, if you look over here on the right, this is my buddy list. I have mine kind of separated out a little bit. I can see the status of people here. Like you see, Eric is available. John's available. I don't know if you can see it very well, but there's a little kind of note-like thing in the bottom left corner that indicates that he's logged in on his cell phone for Mixie. Joy's available. A couple other people not available. Chris is at lunch. Daniel's busy. Ed's on the phone. So we can kind of get a good idea of what people's status is. Now, the buddy list here, this isn't going to be everybody on the system. In our case, it is actually most of the people on the system. And we have a couple of salespeople that are missing on here. But you can choose to build a buddy list. You can put the people over there that you want to. And this is how you do it. If you, on the top menu here, if you go to View, and then Address Book. Up here, I have one that says MX Directory. This is going to be everyone on the system. So I can look over everybody's status in here if I wanted to. If I wanted to add somebody here to my buddy list, I could take, let's see, who do I have on my buddy list here? I've got Chris here. If I wanted to add Chris to my buddy list, I would just drag and drop out here, and now I see Chris on my buddy list. And I see these offline right now.
I think there's a delay in the screen.
I'm sorry, what?
I think there's a delay in the screen or something. The video is not catching up to what you're saying you're doing.
Yeah, with the screen share, it depends. I think we've got a lot of people in here too, so that's adding a little bit to some of the delay. Also, if you look here, you see I have a couple different types of groups that I have set up. I have our Easy Run group, our sales group, and a support group. If you want to, you can add groups like that. If you just right-click on here, you can say Create a Group. Wanted to create a group and call it accounting. I'll show it there at the top, and I could drop people into there. So I wanted to drop George in there, and I wanted to drop Chris in there. Then I'd be able to see those people in that group. Like I have our salespeople grouped together and our tech support grouped together. So this really helps you organize who you want to see, and of course, you can still receive the instant messages and all that, receive all the calls from anybody not on your buddy list. But these are just kind of people that you want to see and easily communicate with. Okay, another thing you can do is in here, you can do instant messaging. One of my favorite features in the system. I love it. Saves me a lot of time. So there's Chris. He's actually sitting at the desk behind me. Mark and I have Joy. Joy's in Florida. She's one of our remote workers. I won't bug Joy. Joy's actually going to be up here next week. So I better be nice to her.
Yeah.
But the instant messaging is great. You can send web links too. They'll show up appropriately. Just click them out of the window in here. We use it all the time here for asking quick questions. Like if I can see here Ed's on the phone and I wanted to ask him a quick question, I just send him an IM, and wait for a response from him. A lot of times here we'll take messages for people. Take a phone number. Somebody calls for Ed. I'll just IM him the phone number. He'll call that person back.
And you have to be logged into the Mixie for this to work, correct?
Yes. If someone's not logged into Mixie, you can send them a message and they'll get it the next time they log in.
Okay.
So the system saves that message for later. Okay, we talked a little bit about the status you see for people. Let me change something here real quick to make this a little bit easier to see on my side. There we go. Okay, across the top, I've got my status that I can set manually here. Available, not available, busy, at lunch, in a meeting, be right back, and appear online. So I can set a status for myself manually, like you saw earlier, Chris was at lunch and back. So, like if I want to set my status here, I can say in a meeting. So everybody else will see that. And then in addition to that, I can put a note. So I can say, now everybody else in the system, when they look at me in the buddy list or in the group, they'll see that. For example, if I go down and look at one of my groups here, this is the way everybody else sees me. And there's Joy and Chris both responding to me. It's sunny and a little cool here. Okay. So there we go. Now everybody else will see that whenever they IM me, they'll see that I'm doing training in the office on Monday.
Okay, I've got a question for you, Dave.
Okay.
Is there any way to use the system such that I'm a salesperson, I'm outside the office, I'm not logged into the Mixie, I want to use my cell phone, but I don't want my clients seeing my cell phone number. I want them only to see my work number. Is there a way to use the system to do that?
Yes, you can do that with the MX Mobile.
Okay.
Because, like, just the way that the system handles the calls, if, like, you know how example we talked about earlier, the binding to an external number?
Yes.
If I bind to an external number and then I place a call from Mixie, it's going to work the same way that placing a call for the MX Mobile application will be. And that the first thing the system will do is place a call from the system to your cell phone. Once you pick up on your cell phone, then the system will place the second leg of that call from the system out to the number that you wanted to go to. So your cell phone will actually receive an incoming call. Then the system will place an outbound call using your system caller ID, not your cell phone caller ID, to that person. So they will see your DID number and not your cell phone number.
How do we get that set up, or what is the process to use the Mixie Mobile?
With the MX Mobile, there's actually two versions. There's one for BlackBerry and one for iPhone. My understanding is they're working on an Android version, and that can't come out soon enough for me.
Okay, so Android is not available right now, which I think most of our group has. I think a couple of people have iPhones, so.
Yeah. The Android one, I really wish they'd come out with that a lot sooner. I know the BlackBerry was the first version, then they had the iPhone. I know they're working on revamping the iPhone version, is my understanding at this point, and after that there will be an Android release.
Is that an additional license, or is that included within the system, or?
Lisa, do you know if they have any license on theirs? It is a license.
They do have the new 6.0 release. They are eligible for that. Yeah.
Do they have a MX Mobile license?
I think so.
You want to check on that?
Yeah, I'll check.
Okay. Yeah, so the license is called mobile access. Check that. That's a per-user setting. You can enable and disable who you want to have MX mobile access. With the mobile application, you can set it up to ring all your calls out to your cell phone. You can place calls through the MX mobile application, and it will connect it like it described, where it's going to send out your DID number for the caller ID instead of your cell phone number.
Okay. Yeah, I've been trying to use a SIP phone client, and it's just so inconsistent every time I try to use it.
It is, and it's just a fact of 3G data services. It's spotty. I mean, I've had problems with it. I mess around with it quite a bit, and I've never had, like you said, it's been inconsistent. Sometimes it works okay, and sometimes it's just not worth using.
Okay.
What is the name of the license that I'm supposed to be looking for, David, again?
Mobile access.
Not according to this last license delivery.
Joe, I'm going to be productive.
Yeah, every user that's going to have access to that would need mobile access.
Okay. That's fine. We can buy those.
The iPhone application is called iConnected, and the BlackBerry one is called MX Mobile. And the MX Mobile one you actually download off of the system. There's a way you send a link to the phone to go pull that application and install that.
Okay.
Any more questions about MX Mobile or?
No, I that's fine. That's great.
Okay. Well, I'll go on here. A couple other things. I'm a member of a couple groups in here. We have Vegas Stream Support and our main CPD support. These are both ACD groups. These I have one call come in at a time. It's never going to send me a second call while I'm already on a call. That's the way the ACD groups work. And if we go on the right, once I have a group selected, I can see the members of that group and what their current status is. So I can see who's on the phone and who's available to take calls. And I can be a member of a large number of groups if I want to. And any time I can go to File and change role here, and I can select what type of or which groups I'm logged into that I'm a member of. And for example, if I want to log into the operator group, I just check the box and I hit OK. And then I'm logged into operator. And if you look over on the right, when I have operator selected, the operator type group, I have a little bit different display. I see the status of everybody on the system. There's a couple people drop out of the call. And so I can see everybody on the system. So even if they're not on my buddy list, I can see them. And then I could just double click here and send a line to them.
Okay.
This is great as an operator console type thing because then you can see what their status is. Like here, I can see Ed is on a personal phone call. Up here, there's a U and an A next to their status. That means user and agent. There's a user call and this is a group call. So I can see Ed here is on a user call at the moment. So he's probably called somebody back. And Chris here, actually, he looks to be on both. My guess is he's got a conference call going on. Okay. Couldn't see that. Okay. And on to one of my favorite parts of the system, the voicemail. When you have a new voicemail, you'll see it show up down here. It says you have a new voice message. If you've been watching a little bit down here, you'll see screen pops that'll show up in the bottom right corner of the screen. So you'll see like caller ID coming in, and those will show up even if you have Mixie minimized. So I'll see a call come in, and I'll see a little notification if I have a new voicemail or a new fax. If I have a new voicemail, I can click here.
Yeah, right now we've got everyone set up in our group that they get their voicemails to their emails.
Okay. Do they plan on using Mixie at all for the voicemail or faxing, or they just want to have everything show up in email?
We just had everyone it all show up in email just to leave it simple for training purposes and everything.
Okay. Okay. Do you want to go over the voicemail at all? Voicemail faxing or?
I don't think we need to, just because they get it via their email right now.
Okay. All right. You also receive faxing in here. You can set up the same thing where you receive your faxes in your email.
And we use it that way as well. Yes.
Okay.
Have they set up anything so that the faxes can come in as a PDF? Right now they come in as a TIFF file.
No, that's just the way they come in. I mean, TIFF is a pretty standard faxing format. That's just the way they've done it. I don't believe, well, as far as I know, there's nothing planned for the 6.0 release. We can always send in. It's a great thing about Volt is they have an email address for sending in feature requests too. If you want to see something new, we can just put in a feature request for it and see if they can go ahead and do that. At this point, though, what I'm actually running here, because we're a distributor and we deal with a lot of this stuff, we're actually running the beta version of their next version software. So that what you're seeing on my system is what's going to be in 6.0. So I don't see any options in that for PDF.
Okay.
Don't believe it's going to be in 6.0.
Okay.
Actually, another neat thing we can do in here, we have call handling rules that we can configure. So I've got my call handling rules here. I'll look over a couple of these. Let's just go with a new one here. It's like an Outlook rule, like an Outlook mail rule for filtering your mail or forwarding it to different folders and stuff. I can kind of do similar type setup here. So I can say, I set a couple conditions. If I want to say, I'm going to be gone on Monday, so I can say any incoming call, date range, and I can say from and to, when is Monday going to be? So I could say any incoming call on the 4th, and I could say, well, somebody calls too early in the morning, I don't want to get that, and I'll say, okay, well, from 9 to 6, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. I want to do the find me, and I want it to go out to my cell phone. So I can say, I can put in a phone number, I can say my desk phone as well. So I'll put my cell phone number in there. And try my cell phone for 45 seconds. When setting up these rules, cell phones take a little bit longer to ring typically, so I give it a little bit extra time. And I can say either connect immediately, or I can say I want the system to read me the caller ID number before and prompt me to accept the call. So when I pick up my cell phone, it'll read off the number and say, do you want to press 1 to accept this call? I can hit 1. Or if I hang up, it's just going to go back in here and end up with my voicemail. Okay. Or if I wanted to, if I'm going to be kind of in and out of the office all day Monday, I can say, ring all my phones at the same time. So this will ring my desk phone and my cell phone at the same time. I can answer whichever one is more convenient for me. And one thing about this is, even if I answer on my cell phone and I still see the call on Mixie, if I'm just getting back into the office and I call my cell phone, I can actually go into Mixie and then, park the call and pick it up on my desk phone if I wanted to. And you've got a lot of options in here. You can do a number of different things. You could say call from a specific number. If I wanted to, I could say I've got an important call coming in. Call comes in from my boss. I want that to go to my cell phone. Now, if you have a particular customer that's calling in, you want that to end up in your cell phone. Another thing that I've used this for is on the unfortunate occurrence when some robo-dialer or telemarketer gets my DID number, I actually created a rule for that. They call into me, reject this call. The system's actually going to drop the call without ever ringing my phone. So I get rid of that. And as you see here, you can set up a number of different rules, and you can actually just check a box to enable or disable a rule. So I could configure one, just kind of in and out of the office type rule that does bring my cell phone, my desk phone, or my cordless phone all at the same time, and I can just set that one up and then enable and disable it as needed. You can also base them on your presence here, like this one rule here that I created. Sometimes I go out to lunch and people call me directly anyway, rather than ending up with my voicemail, it's actually forwarding it out to our support group, so maybe somebody else can help that person. There's a lot you can do here with calling.
Hey, with the new rules, you mentioned that find me, follow me thing.
Yes.
Is that not set up through the binding, or where is that set up at?
Well, and that is in here. With the external binding, you're just saying send all my calls to a specific number. With the find me, follow me rule, you can say I want to ring multiple phones at the same time. So I can say I want to ring like my cell phone. I want to ring a specific phone that I have here, so say my desk phone, at the same time. I can't do that with an external binding. When I bind to my external number, it's just going to ring my cell phone. When I set up to find me, follow me, it's going to do whatever I tell it in here, ring multiple phones. It also gives me the option of this connect immediately versus ask before connect. So if I bind to my cell phone, as soon as I pick up, I'm connected. If I say ask before connect and the find me, follow me rule, I can pick up my cell phone and say, okay, I don't want to take a work call right now, or I'm in the middle of something, and just hang up. And it goes back into my voicemail system.
Okay.
Major differences right there.
That'd be a great way to set it up. But if the Mixie is not open, that functionality is not running, correct?
The external binding won't work if Mixie isn't running. The call handling rules are apply anytime. Doesn't matter whether you're logged into Mixie or not.
So it would probably be smart for a salesperson to have it set up that way so that it's the, find me whether they're at the office or on their cell phone. So I think that'd be great. And for the group on the phone, we should be, I would recommend as a salesperson you set that up.
Yeah. If you set up a full-time find me, follow me rule, it's going to ring everything at the same time. Or, depending on how your salespeople are, if they want to have a find me, follow me rule from 9 to 6 and turn it off the rest of the time, you can do that.
Does it matter if you're a member of a part of a calling group?
That is one of the differences between the external binding versus find me, follow me. The find me, follow me is only going to apply to personal calls to you. If somebody calls your extension. If somebody calls a group, those do not kick in.
Okay.
Now, on an external binding, a group call will be routed to your external number. I've actually used that here before. One time, I think it was last winter, we had some freezing rain coming in. I didn't want to worry about the roads and stuff. I was working till 8. So I bound Mixie to my cell phone and drove home. And, call comes in while I'm on my way home. Call comes into the support group, and it rings my cell phone.
Is there any other way to manage the groups other than logging into the administrator to forward it somewhere else?
You mean like the group calls as a whole?
Yeah. Like let's say I have a call group set up between 3 or 4 people, and at night when we leave, rather than logging into the administrator to change that to call to somebody's cell phone number, we can set up a rule or something to happen or some functionality that we don't have to log into the administrator to use that.
Well, the group rules as far as how the calls are handled, there are a couple different conditions that can be set in there. So you can say if all agents are logged out, forward to somebody's cell phone.
Okay.
So you can set that up. It'll kick in when everybody's logged out of Mixie. This rule will kick in and forward out to the cell phone.
Okay.
You've also got to. There are also some other options depending on how the calls are routing in. You can use auto attendant scripting to do some of that. So if I wanted a number during a certain time of day to route to the group, and after that, automatically route to a cell phone, like if people are not in the habit of logging out of Mixie, I can have this auto attendant, at 6 o'clock kick in and start hitting somebody's cell phone instead. And if it did come down to having to log into the administrator, there are ways of limiting administrative access. So if I wanted somebody to only be able to access, ECD groups or something, reprogram them, I could do that. Just rear my admin a little bit. Like for example, here I can say all agents logged out, send a voicemail or forward to an external number. I could say if everybody's on the phone, which is usually where not available call handling kicks in, I can forward out to a cell phone, or I could forward to a different group, or another user on the system.
Okay.
So you do have a couple options when it comes to the groups.
Okay.
Any other questions on find me, follow me, call call handling rules.
No, I think that the find me, follow me is excellent. And again, I think every salesperson should set it up that way.
Yeah, I definitely find it to be very useful. I mean, personally, I don't use that particular part of it a whole lot, but the rules themselves are useful for me. I had people before that thought my DID was a tech support number, and I set their number to forward to the group. Because I have people call me direct all the time when I'm in the middle of another call, and I would just forward that call out. Actually, speaking of that, I want to show you a couple more things on the groups, or on the Mixie, and how we can handle stuff that's coming into us. Okay. So I'm going to call myself from my cell phone here. Actually, a couple things we can do with a call before it's actually ever answered. Okay. Okay. So if I call myself from my cell phone, I have an incoming call here. Okay. So I have a call coming in. And while it's ringing here, I can right-click here. I can choose to answer this. In my case, normally this would go right to my headset. I can reject the call, which will not send them to voicemail. It'll actually give them a disconnect. I can send a call into voicemail and choose one of my greetings if I want. Or I can actually transfer this call before I ever answer it. So if somebody calls me direct and I can't take it, I'll just transfer that to Chris. And the person calling in doesn't hear anything different at all. They just hear ringing normally. Like Sean's done that to me before. Sean transferred the call, calling into me, and said, "Wait, I was calling for Sean." Yeah, Sean transferred you over to me because he's in the middle of something. He thought that I could help you. Okay, just a couple other things we can do here. As I wait on the cell tower. So this call is coming in, and because I'm actually in a conference call right now, I can take this call and I can say, transfer it in the conference. And like I said about muting people, there I can do that. And I'm going to disconnect that call. Okay. And one of the last things we can do here, this is a really cool feature, and most people are a little confused the first time I do this to them. The call comes in, I don't answer it in time, it ends up in my voicemail. They're leaving me a message. Now I still see this call here going into my voicemail. If I want to, I can do right-click, retrieve call. So while they're in the middle of leaving me a message, I can pull the call out of voicemail and talk to them.
Oh, that's cool.
It's happened to me a number of times. I'm just finishing up a call. Somebody else is calling me. I miss it, and it's my voicemail, and I miss it by 3 seconds. They're in there. I can pull them right back out. And actually, a couple other things here. I have my cell phone. I just want to show you a couple things that don't show up in a conference call, but they will show up in other normal calls. So actually call myself and then answer on my mobile phone here. Like I said, I can do a transfer on a call, or if I want, I can send to somebody else's voicemail. So if somebody calls into me and says, yeah, I wanted to talk to Ed, sorry, Ed's on the phone, I can say, okay, send Ed's voicemail. I can say, extension 307, I'll transfer Ed's voicemail. Direct. Ed will, and then if I did that, Ed would also see a call in here would say to voicemail. Okay. Another thing I can do here is if somebody calls, I can do a drag and drop transfer. I can just move somebody over here and say, somebody calls in and says, oh, I wanted to talk to Eric in sales. And there we go. I'll simply call Eric. That's all I have to do for the transfer. Okay. I think we've covered most of Mixie so far. Does anybody have any questions you wanted to see?
No, I think really the binding and the follow me have been huge, and then the ability to do different things on the calls as they come in is really good too. I know one of the challenges sometimes we have is if we're outside of the main office where the systems are and the PRI is, and people are using the Mixie from their homes. A lot of times we're challenged with call quality. You know, if they don't have a good internet connection.
Yeah.
Is there any way to work with the audio any better? I know that when you go into the preferences, you know, you can enable acoustic cancellation. But are there any other settings that we can manipulate?
One thing that you can try is using the G729 codec. And software codec. Basically, this is probably the one you want to use. And here's the difference. And I don't want to get too technical on people, but G711 is standard telephone quality audio. It's just completely uncompressed. It's what you get when you make a call from an analog phone at your home or something. Okay. G729 is about the same quality, but they use compression to make it lower bandwidth. So it's one thing you can try. Use lower bandwidth if you're having bandwidth issues at home. Try a lower bandwidth codec and see if that helps out at all. And another thing we can do, though, as we discussed earlier with the external bindings, if you're having quality problems at home, you can try binding to your cell phone or even a house phone.
Okay. What is the low bandwidth with silent suppression? Is that more trouble than it's worth?
In my experience, yeah, I really don't like silent suppression. In theory, it sounds great. What they try and do is save bandwidth. The other term for silent suppression is voice activity detection. So it detects when the volume of a call goes below a certain level. So like if people stop talking, the volume drops, and it just stops sending audio at that point. The problem that I've run into with it is if there are pauses in a conversation and someone starts talking again, it takes a half second for that to kick in and start sending the audio packets, and you lose like half the first word when somebody starts talking again. So that, personally, I don't like it. You could try it and see how it works out for you. But there shouldn't be a whole lot of difference between 729 and 729 with silent suppression as far as your overall bandwidth usage.
Okay.
And I know how that could be too, though, from the home connections, because I'm tech support, so I deal with this stuff from time to time. And you just, if you want to talk to your ISP about quality, I used to work in a call center for an ISP, and those people will probably not be able to help you. Someone else had a question earlier?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. My question was, when you went into that voicemail and you said you could pick it up right then, can you listen to the message before you decide, or once you're in there, you're in there? I mean, say if somebody, you're listening, it's like, oh, I don't really want to take this one too involved. They got something else to do first.
Do you mean when you're picking up, when you're answering a call and pulling out a voicemail?
Right. You said you could even, if you clicked over real quick, you could even, if they started leaving a message, you could join that call. Is it optional as to whether you are, I don't know how to say it, I guess, on the call or not, or can you click right back out without them ever knowing if you chose not to?
Yeah, what Barbara's looking to do is the next level of call screening. She wants to be able to listen to the person leaving the voicemail and then decide if she can pick it up.
Yeah, I understand what you're talking about. No, when you do the retrieve call, it pulls them out of voicemail and you're actually talking to that person.
Okay, just want to make, okay.
I mean, if you really wanted to, actually, depending on, you could retrieve the call, mute your phone, set up call recording on them if you wanted to, and record the rest of it. Whatever they've left so far at that point when you retrieve them from voicemail is actually in a voicemail in your mailbox stuff.
Okay.
So I suppose you could retrieve the call, turn on call recording, mute your phone, and do that.
Okay, all right. I probably wouldn't worry about that anyway, but it was just a question. I thought, just in case you got in there, you thought, oh, this is going to be more detailed than I have time for right now.
Yeah, and it's something that I had personally thought about putting in as a feature request, because it sounds kind of neat to be able to do that. Just let them leave their message, and you can decide if you want to actually talk to them or not.
Right. Yeah, I had a service once on one of the companies I worked for that it was like that, so that's what made me think about it. But, all right. Well, thanks for answering my question.
Okay. Yeah, and that's one of the things about this. It's all software, and so with the software upgrades, they may add new features and stuff, and we can put in feature requests if there's something we want to see. There's no guarantee that we'll get it or not, but if they know people are interested in features, maybe they'll add it for us. Anybody else have any other questions?
No, this has been great. Thank you very much.
Okay. Lisa, do you think there is anything that they have missed that may be interesting? in, or?
No, I mean, a lot of it had to do with the MX Mobile, and apparently they don't have the license, so we'll have to do that next time, and, you know.
Okay.
I sent you a list, Joe, of all the things that you have on your system, by the way.
Okay.
And thank you guys very much, and if you need anything else, call me back.
Thank you.
David, I need you for a second, too.
Okay.
When we end the call.